you have to use deadly force. Are APD officers trained to shoot to kill?
No, they are trained to stop the action, shoot to stop the action, and that does not always necessarily mean they're going to kill somebody.
Okay. Let's go back to what we were doing about going through and figuring out who was a potential witness in the case.
I hate to do this, but can we approach now?
Yeah.
Thank you.
So when it comes to when a deadly threat is presented upon a police officer, where it rises to the level of deadly force, say the assailant is armed with a deadly weapon, a gun or a knife.
Okay, and wait a second. We don't want you to talk about what your interpretation of the deadly threat is or imminent threat, but just what are you trained to do if you have to use deadly force?
You're trained to, if it rises to deadly force, stop the action until the threat is no longer a deadly threat to you.
Okay, and when you say stop the action, what does that mean that you physically do?
As it relates to a firearm?
Yes, sir.
You shoot the person until they're no longer a deadly threat to you.
Okay. Is that sufficient, Judge?
One more time.
Okay.
No, one more.
Well, I think
Okay.
I know the question. All right. So when you were talking about shooting center mass, is that what you're trained to do to stop the threat? Is to shoot center mass?
That is one of the main target areas that we are trained to shoot. That is correct.
Okay. And is that the idea that if you shoot center mass, that is more likely to stop the action?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. Sufficient, Judge? Okay. Thank you. Let me take you back now to figuring out who was a potential witness. And you said you photographed all of the 19 officers who were there.
I didn't personally, but the criminalistics detectives did.
And that was at your direction.
That is correct.
You were the one who decided who should be photographed.
Yes, it is one of my responsibilities to make sure that who I want photographed gets photographed.
Okay. And then after you got all this information, how long was the report that you wrote?
My report, when I turned it in, was approximately 885 pages.
Okay, so I exaggerated. It was not 899. It was 885?
Yes.
Okay. And did you, in doing your investigation, try to figure out the whole sequence of events that had happened?
Yes.
Were you able to, after you gathered all the evidence and did your investigation, figure out who came and arrived to the scene first?
Yes.
And was it important for you to know, even with those initial officers, what weapons they had available to them?
Yes, that is part of the investigation.
Why is that important?
Again, when you're collecting evidence, if you find, say, bullet casings on the ground, you don't immediately right there know which gun they came from. So anyone who was there that had the firearm within close proximity, you have to make sure you know which weapon system they had as well.
Okay. Can you tell the jury who were the first officers to arrive there at the foothills and talk to Mr. Boyd?
There were two open space officers still with the Albuquerque Police Department, Officer John McDaniel and Patrick Hernandez.
Okay. Let me hand you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 23A and State's Exhibit 24A. Can you identify those for me, please?
Yes.
And are those fair and accurate depictions of how those officers looked on that evening?
Yes.
Okay, Your Honor, I move 23A and 24A into evidence.
Any objection?
No, Your Honor.
And were the weapons of those officers...
1 second, I still have to admit.
Oh, I'm
that.
sorry,
So
Judge.
23A and 24A are admitted into evidence without objection.
And what weapons did those officers have?
They had semi-automatic handguns.
Okay, and that's what you've also referred to as a sidearm?
Sidearm.
Did they have any kind of long guns, anything else?
No, they did not.
And did either one of these officers have cameras on them?
Yes, they did.
What kind of cameras did they have?
They are the taser cameras that are issued to field officers.
Okay, and Your Honor, could you put the
Elmo?
yeah, Elmo on, please? Oh, I don't know if there's a way to enlarge it. Oh, I see, on the Elmo. Oh, okay, that's a great idea. Okay, good deal. Thank you very much. All right. So who is that fellow?
That is Open Space Officer John McDaniel.
And who is this person?
Open Space Officer Patrick Hernandez.
Okay. Now, based on your investigation, did the officers sort of arrive in waves of different kinds of officers?
As far as a response throughout the entire incident, that is correct.
Okay, and these were the first two to arrive, is that right?
They are the first two responding officers.
Okay.
Ms. McGinn, when you asked who they were,
Oh, I'm sorry.
they were on the
didn't-
Elmo, but you didn't reference the number.
23A was Officer McDaniel,
Okay.
and 24A was Officer Hernandez, Your Honor. And what I'd like to do, Detective Stone, is put these up as the first arrivers on this chart. Can you tell the jury about what time these fellows went out to the open space area to talk to Mr. Boyd?
It was a little after 4 o'clock p.m.
Okay, was it closer to 5?
Probably. I'd have to look at the CADs again. Of the
Okay.
report.
Would it refresh your recollection to have those CADs?
Yes.
Let me find that summary. Hold on a second. Did you actually create a summary from the CADs of arrival times?
There was a summary. There is a summary in my report. That is correct.
And one that you checked over to make sure that it was correct with the CADs?
Yes.
Marked with States Exhibit 20A, and is that your summary of the arrival time of the officers?
Yes, this is the summary.
And is that an accurate summary of when all the officers arrived?
Yes, it is.
Your Honor, I would move 20A into evidence.
Any objection to 20A?
So long as the documents which form the foundation of that exhibit are also admitted into.
There's no requirement for that, Judge. That's under 1006.
I would object as well. Detective, this document, there's some writing, for example, on the second page on the bottom, or some words, and on the right page, are those your words? Did you come up with those words to put right there?
No, I did not.
Okay, so this document wasn't actually developed by you as part of your investigation. All the stuff on the right side is, or what I was referring to, you know what I'm referring to, that's not yours. Is that the prosecutor's words?
I don't know whose words they are.
But they're not yours.
No.
So is it fair to say that this document contains information that you didn't actually do?
I did not write this summary. I just reviewed it.
You just reviewed this summary. You didn't write, this is not, in other words, on the second page and on the third page, the comments on the right column, those are not your comments at all, are they?
Which comments are you referring to?
On the second page on the bottom, for example, the last comment on the right side?
At the bottom right?
Yeah,
No, those are not. I didn't write this.
you didn't write that. And that's not anything that came right out of your work, is it?
No. Well, like I said, I didn't write this
And then
document.
the next page is the same thing for the
Judge,
column.
Your Honor, more than the two questions that Mr. Brennan
Wow.
asked. That's my objection.
Overruled.
Now, the stuff on the third page, on that right column as well, you didn't come up with this wording either, did you?
No.
Counsel, will you approach with what you're referring to? Because I see on page 2, but not 3.
Okay, Detective Stone, how we started on all of this is that I asked if it would refresh your recollection to see that when the open space officers arrived. And does that help refresh your recollection? And can you tell the jury when the open space officers arrived at the bottom of the foothills, first of all?
Yes. They arrived.
Is it refreshing his memory, or is he reading from it? That's the only thing.
It's been admitted, Judge.
Well,
It was admitted with the redaction, so he's just using it.
but what he's using hasn't been redacted yet or modified into the form that it will be
All right,
admitted.
so let me ask
So let me
you-
just instruct the witness.
Okay.
When your recollection is refreshed, you can look at a document, but you can't read from it unless it's in evidence. So just read it, put it down, and let them know when you're done reviewing it.
Yeah.
But read it to yourself, not
Yes,
to
sir. No problem.
Okay, refreshed?
Yes.
All right, can you tell the jury what time they arrived?
1641.
Okay, and can you translate that for lay people, please?
Oh, I'm sorry, that's 4:41 p.m.
All right. And what's your understanding of where, without talking about what they did or what they said, where did they go first when they got to the foothills?
Initially, they went to the calling party's residence, and by calling party, I mean the person that alerted police to the incident.
Okay, and when you say the incident, what did Mr. Thixton say was going on?
Possibly someone camping in the open space.
Well, it's to show his investigation, Judge, and why the officers responded not to. And we're going to have...
That's to show his investigation. It's hearsay, objection hearsay.
Overruled.
Okay, you can answer why Mr. Thixton called the APD.
Yes, because there was somebody possibly camping in the open space area.
Okay. And in your investigation, did you try to determine whether there had been more than one person camping at that location in Mr. Boyd's camp?
Yes.
Okay, what did you find out about that?
Through the investigation, there were more than just one person possibly camping in the area. There were, in fact, according to my investigation, two
And
people.
who were the two people?
One individual was later identified as James Boyd. There was another individual, an African-American, either male or female. It was unknown, but we never identified that person.
Okay, and how did you know there was a second person? What evidence did you find that there had been two people camping at that location?
My interview with the reporting person, Alexander Thixton, as well as photographs that he sent me.
Okay, he had been taking photographs of the people that had been camping behind his place?
That is correct, not just on that day, but previous days.
Okay, and were you able to tell if the African-American was a man or a woman, or did your investigation lead you to lean one way or the other?
I couldn't tell. I had heard different things from different people, but I don't know.
Okay, did you go out and try to find that person that had been living with James Boyd up in the mountains?
Yes, I did.
Okay, and what success or not did you have?
I had no success. I was not able to locate that person.
And what kinds of things did you do to try to find that person?
I asked around the neighborhood if anybody had seen or known this person. I had also taken one of the photographs that Alexander Thixton had provided me, and I had put them at the substations with a note saying if any officer recognizes this person, to please call me.
And none of the leads panned out for finding that person?
No, they did not.
Okay. How long had they been camping out in the foothills?
Unknown on exactly how long they had been there, but my investigation revealed that it was at least a month prior.
Okay. What happened when these officers went up to Mr. Boyd?
They made initial contact with Mr. Boyd in his camping area, and he was actually in like a makeshift tent.
Okay. And before we get into sort of what happened, let me hand you a smaller version of what's been marked as State's Exhibit 16A. And can you tell the jury what that is?
It is kind of an aerial view of the open space area where this occurred. It's a hilltop, commonly referred to in that neighborhood as U Mound.
All right. Your Honor, I believe 16A.
Any objection?
No objection, Your Honor.
Okay, and if I can have the text stone come down. Oh, I'm sorry, Judge.
I wait for
jumped
Mr.
in.
Robles to let me know, and
Sorry.
then so.
No objection.
A,
How did the defendants McDaniel and Hernandez approach from what direction did they approach Mr. Boyd's camp?
After they left Alexander Thixton's residence, they actually drove out of the neighborhood to the area of where Copper ends. Copper is a street in the Foothills Area Command, and the major intersections are Tramway and Copper. And if you go east on Copper from Tramway, there's a little open space parking lot area where you can get out, and there's hiking trails and stuff like that. That is where they parked. And they approached the area of where James Boyd was camping at the time along the main kind of trail that you see to the bottom of the photo.
Okay. Did they have some kind of camera on them as they approached Mr. Boyd?
Yes.
Okay, what kind of camera was it?
It was a taser cameras.
And did they turn in their video footage from the taser cameras?
It was collected that night.
And did it show a lot or not, those taser cameras?
It showed certain things on specific to actually both cameras. You couldn't see James Boyd the majority of the time just simply because of the way the camera was oriented and the elevation. You're just kind of really seeing rock and ground most of the time, and shadows.
And you've reviewed those videos and the stills that have come from it, and let me hand you what's been marked as 7C, 7CI, 7C1, 7C2, and 7C3. And can you identify those for me, please, sir?
Yes, which one would you like me to start with? 7CI?
Well, first of all, are they all stills from the taser cameras?
Yes, they are.
All right. And Your Honor, I'd move 7C 1, 2, and 3 into evidence.
Any objection?
I object for lack of foundation, Your Honor.
No objection.
If you just ask a few more questions, please.
Sure. Are these fair and accurate depictions of what was on the taser cameras of McDaniel and Hernandez?
Yes. Yes.
All right. Your Honor, I'd move 7C 1, 2, and 3.
Same objection, Your Honor.
7C 1, 2, and 3 are admitted.
Okay. I can have those back. Thank you very much. We're going to have the open space officer come and testify about what happened, but
Objection to the attorney testifying, Your Honor.
all right. Let me ask you, sir, does 7C 1 give the jury a feel for sort of what the taser...
Reveal the actual person who took that should be testifying to that, and whether or not this would actually give a feel on that.
Overruled.
And when you said that it didn't show a lot of Mr. Boyd, most of it, can you explain why the taser cam wasn't showing Mr. Boyd or the person they were talking to and showing the ground like this?
I think it's just because of the orientation of the camera and the elevation of the terrain.
How does the taser cam sit on...
It sits on their collar, the uniform collar.
Okay. And then let me show you 7C2. At some point, the officers pulled out their guns, and does this picture depict the shadow of one of the officers pulling out their guns?
Objection to attorneys testifying. With a question. At some point, they pulled out their guns. That's testifying, Your Honor.
Can you tell me what this picture depicts, Mr. Stone?
It depicts the officer has his gun at a low ready, and you can see in the lower left-hand corner how he has the pistol in his grip, or in his hand, and you can also see it in the shadow.
Okay. When you talk about a low ready, is there a difference between a show of force and a use of force?
Yes.
Okay. And what is a low ready?
A low ready is kind of similar to what I discussed earlier with the rifle. When you pull out your sidearm or your rifle, you're not going to walk around like this all the time. So a low ready is you have it kind of pointed down so you can see, and you're not covering anybody with the muzzle of the gun, and that is what we call a show of force when an officer deems it necessary.
Okay, and when an officer points a gun at you, what is that?
It's also a show of force.
Okay, all right. Now, I wanted to know how close they got to Mr. Boyd's camp in their contact with him, and let me show you what's been marked as 7C3 from their video cam, or their taser cam. Does that depict how close they got to Mr. Boyd's camp?
Yes, it appears to be.
Now, although their taser cams didn't show their location, did you find out that the neighbor had taken video footage? This neighbor that called had
Objection to the attorney testifying again, this neighbor that had called.
Did Mr. Thixton have some video footage?
Yes.
Tell the jury how that happened, that the neighbor had video footage of this.
So after the open space officers made initial contact with Mr. Thixton and then left to go up the mountain to contact Mr. Boyd, Mr. Thixton went to his balcony that faces the open space area, and that is where he took pictures and filmed from.
And how many cameras did he set up to film the encounter between the police department and this homeless fellow in his back in the foothills?
He had two different devices. One was his cell phone, another one was a regular camera.
All right. And did you collect the information that Mr. Thixton had recorded on his camera and his cell phone?
I personally didn't collect it. That was again with the criminalistics detective, Frank Pisano.
All right. And did you review that footage as part of your report?
Yes.
And can you identify the stills that were taken from that, both the camera and then the cell phone?
Yes.
Okay. Let me hand you up to mark as State's Exhibit 13I3 and 13I4. And can you tell me what 13I3 is, first of all?
It's a still photograph from that was taken by Alexander Thixton.
Does that fairly and accurately depict the location where the open spaces officers were when they first contacted Mr. Boyd?
Yes.
All right. Your Honor, I would move 13I3.
Any objection?
No objection, Your Honor.
No objection.
13I3 is admitted.
Okay. And in this photograph, you can see, this is the one taken from Mr. Thixton's balcony.
That's correct.
You can see Mr. Boyd here, and you can see the officers with their guns out. And can you tell me, is this the low-ready position you were talking about, Detective Stone?
Leading, Your Honor.
Sustained.
What position do they have their guns in at that point, sir?
Low ready.
Okay. And then, after they had their encounter with Mr. Boyd, what did they do?
Upon their, which part of their encounter?
Well, let me ask this first. Did you collect the taser cam tape that has the audio?
Again, I didn't collect it personally, the criminalistics detectives did.
All right, but then did you listen to it to see what had happened?
Yes.
And can you hear on that tape how long the encounter takes and how long it is before they pull out their guns?
Yes.
All right. Your Honor, at this time I would move and offer to play Exhibit 7B. Well, and one more second, Judge. You've actually reviewed the transcript with the excerpt of the transcript that the state prepared, excerpt of the video that the state prepared with a synced transcript, have you not, sir?
Yes.
And have you determined that the words on the transcript are correct as far as what is being said on the video?
Yes, they appear to be.
All right, Your Honor, I would offer 7B with the synced transcript and offer to play that for the jury at this point.
Any objection to 7B?
Your Honor, we ever received the actual, I mean, I see a disc here now, but the actual synced transcript on it, Your Honor. Okay.
Okay.
Come out now, Albuquerque, please, please. Come out now, please. Why are you making weapons? They're not raised. We're going to your hand. No. Go. I've been calling y'all for 5 months, okay? Okay. Nobody's responding. All right, now do your favor, have to, what do you do? So I don't know about you. Please don't touch each other. No, I'm gonna turn around. Turn around, I'm gonna pat you down. All right, turn around! Turn around. Drop the knife. Drop the knife. knife, please. Drop the knife. 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 Oh shit, dude. Come on. Drop the knife. Drop the knife. Drop the knife. What type of security is that? What type of security? What type of security? Drop the knife. Okay,
Okay, so it's blacked out. Judge,
okay, keep your hands out of your pocket.
can you just pause it for a second and back it up like about a half a second? If we can get that back on again, Judge? Okay, thanks. There you go. Okay.
What type of security? Drop the knife. I notified police for 5 months. Okay, what about what? 15, 25 days. Okay, keep your hands out of your pocket. Right. I'm only going to view you. Get in the air, something, with the knife, where the chopper, trailer, just a little north. Put the knife down. Okay, guys, that's all right. Put the knife down. I'm arresting you again. You do not give the Department of Defense arrest. I'm just giving you a phone number. I'm putting this over. You just got Put the name to it. Okay. 1525 days, 1520 LT, to the address that they're sent to, they can go to their backyard. I have an address. Okay. I have a fucking address. We're all getting 4 or 5 months. I'm trying to warn the police department for 5 months. I'm not going to jail tonight. You might. Sure, everybody's good. Everybody's going to jail. Okay? Everybody's good. Stay right there. Stay right there. Okay. Okay. Oh. All right. Put your down the way. I'll put them out. I'll hold them down. Put them down. I can't rush you. You want to talk to me? Come back. Okay. You're right. Okay.
Is that the tape of the initial encounter with Mr. Boyd?
Yes.
And was there a photograph, when they asked him to turn around and frisk him, and then he pulls out the knives, what did the officers do?
They, again, drew their firearms out, brought them up, and you can tell from the video that they began to disengage while giving him commands to drop the knife.
All right. And most of the commands they give him to drop the knife occur in that first minute, do they not?
Yes, numerous times.
They say it over and over and over again.
Objection, leading.
Was there a photograph from Mr. Thixton of where they then moved back to and set themselves up?
Yes.
Okay, thanks, Mike. I need to show this just for a second. Did either Officer McDaniel or Officer Hernandez, were they within arm's length of Mr. Boyd at the time he pulled out these knives?
Yes.
Did either Officer McDaniel shoot, well, first, did Officer McDaniel shoot Mr. Boyd?
No.
And did Officer Hernandez shoot Mr. Boyd?
No.
See if this is coming on.
I'm going to turn it off and turn it back on.
Okay, Judge, thanks. And Judge, I can just, while we're, you know what, I can just show this to the jury. Rather than put it on the screen.
I can't hear what she's saying.
I said I'm just going to show it to the jury rather than put it on the screen. Oh, there you go, finally, okay. Is 13I-4, does that depict where the officers moved to in relation to Mr. Boyd?
It appears to be at that particular moment, yes.
All right. And then what happened next?
As you heard in the video, Officer McDaniel gets on the radio and requests backup and advises what's occurring.
Okay, and let me hand you what's marked as states 17A. With this over, and Kim, first of all, can you identify that for the jury, please?
It looks like in some kind of overlay on that picture with the actual photos taken from the criminalistics detectives, and maybe a photo of James Boyd from the actual camera.
Right, and does that fairly and accurately depict the approximate location of the two open space officers after they backed away from Mr. Boyd?
Approximately.
All right, Your Honor, at this time I'd move 17A.
I'm rejecting 17A.
Check 4143.
Did a second group of officers arrive,
Yes.
Detective Stone? And how would you characterize or categorize the officers who arrived next?
It was the responding field officers, kind of the second initial wave of response to this particular incident.
Okay, let me find my field officers. Hold on just a second. First of all, who was the sergeant of the field officers who came?
Sergeant Jason Carpenter.
Okay. And did you photograph Sergeant Carpenter as he was dressed that day?
He was photographed by criminalistics.
And was there an Officer Wetterland that came too?
Christopher Wetterland, yes.
And who else came in that wave?
Officer McCall Monet, he also goes by Mike Monet, and Officer Justin Virgilio, and sometime after that, Officer Brock Nitbrath.
Okay, let's do them in the order I just gave you, that we just went through. Let me hand you 25A, 28A, 29A, 27A, and 26A, and are those all photographs of those officers in the order that you identified them?
Yes.
Your Honor, I move exhibits 25, 28A, 29A, 27A, and 26A into evidence.
I have no objection if the officer for the record, I'm sorry, it's the detective, would just identify which one's which.
Well,
with these numbers.
I was gonna put them, have him come identify them as we showed them to the jury.
I'd like him to do that before they're admitted. I mean, I think that's fair.
Any objection, Mr. President?
No objection.
Let me have you go through and just specifically.
Can you tell me who is who, and then we'll put it up for the jury, and we'll tell them who is who?
Yes. Exhibit 25A is a picture, frontal picture of Sergeant Jason Carpenter. Is this 28A?
Yes, sir.
28A is a frontal picture of Officer Christopher Wetterland.
28A is submitted.
Picture 29A is a picture, frontal picture of Officer Justin Rogelio.
You said 29A?
Yes, Your Honor.
29A is submitted.
And Exhibit 27A is a frontal picture of Officer McCall Monet.
27A is submitted.
And Exhibit 26A is a frontal picture of Officer Brock Nitbrath.
26A is submitted. Thank you very much. The jury
First, could you tell the jury who was in charge, and let me show you this person first. Can you see that from there?
Yes, that's Sergeant Jason Carpenter.
Okay. Can you tell the jury who was in charge?
He was the supervisor on scene, so he was in charge.
All right. And do you know can you identify this officer, 28A, please?
That, again, is Officer Christopher Wetterland.
And what was Christopher Wetterland's role out there at the scene with the field officers?
He responded with a less lethal beanbag shotgun.
Okay. And this officer, number 29A,
Justin Rogelio.
and what was his role out at the scene?
The same as Christopher Wetterland, a cover officer, someone who's to cover other officers, and he also had a less lethal beanbag shotgun.
All right. And then there's this big guy here, 27A, Michael Monette.
That is correct.
And 26A, who is Brock Nimcraft.
That is correct.
Okay. I want you to talk a little bit to the jury about these two officers. What kind of officers were Michael Monette and Brock Nimcraft?
They are, or were at the time, CIT officers. And what I mean by CIT is they are trained in crisis intervention, so crisis intervention training.
And what does that mean that they're trained in crisis intervention?
It is a course that they go through where they are trained in dealing with someone who is in crisis or someone who may be suffering from mental illness and may be having an episode at that particular time. They are trained in de-escalation skills, verbal skills, to try and bring about a peaceful resolution to a situation, as far as using their words, kind of trying to identify with them and kind of calm them down.
Aren't all police officers trained in that?
You do have training in when you're in the Albuquerque Police Department Academy. You do go through 40 hours, and I'm sorry, I'm speaking for myself. I don't know if it's changed as far as the hours, but I was trained in at the academy 40 hours of crisis intervention training, and then all officers after that were required to go to an additional 40 hours of crisis intervention training.
Okay, how many, so why would you call a special CIT officer if all the officers have had 40 hours of training in the academy?
Because of the additional training, they go more in depth into de-escalation skills and using verbal skills in order to talk to people in crisis or mental health issues. So because of that specific training, they are often called upon to actually arrive on scene to kind of, in certain instances, take over rapport with the individual who may be in crisis.
Okay, and so they are better qualified and better trained than an officer who's just had the academy training to deal with mentally ill people, is that right?
Leading, Your Honor.
Who is the best trained person to deal with a mentally ill person between a regular officer and a CIT officer?
Due to the expanded training, they're supposed to be better qualified.
And what is the policy about if there is a negotiation to be had with a mentally ill person and you have a CIT trained officer on site?
If they're on site, then typically they're the ones that are going to be doing the negotiating and the talking. However, that's not set in stone. If a person who isn't, an officer has not been to the extra 40-hour course but is doing a good job of communicating with the person, then sometimes it is actually counterintuitive for that additional CIT trained officer to step in and mess that up.
Okay. What if it is the CIT officer initially who is the one that begins the negotiation with the person? What is the policy about whether it's a good idea to leave that person negotiating with?
Again, if everything seems to be going okay, they will continue with the line of communication.
And why do you want to do that?
Again, the purpose of the crisis intervention training is to try and diffuse a situation, talk the person down, calm them down, so hopefully you can bring about a peaceful resolution to the situation without having to use force.
Even though these were CIT officers, did any of these 5 officers have firearms?
Every police officer is equipped with firearms.
All right, and so what kind of firearms did they have up there with these 5 field officers?
Everyone, again, every police officer that you see on the board there has their duty issued sidearm, which is the handgun, on their in their holster.
And typically, how many bullets does their service revolver have, or their service firearm have?
17.
Okay.
If they're carrying a Glock, if they're carrying at that time, if someone was carrying a 1911 style firearm, they could have been carrying 8 rounds.
All right. And did they also have long guns, the officers who responded, the field officers that responded?
Officer McCall Monet, you can see from the photographs, deployed with a rifle.
And when he was negotiating with Mr. Boyd, did he continue to have the rifle, or did he give it to someone else?
He had the rifle.
Okay. And then, as the negotiations began, did Mr. Boyd make a request to talk to a different kind of officer?
Yes.
Who did he want to talk to?
He wanted to talk to someone with the state police.
And what did the field officers do when Mr. Boyd said, I don't want to talk to you, I want to talk to the state police?
Well, they did continue their dialogue with Mr. Boyd. They didn't cut that off. But Sergeant Jason Carpenter did make a request over the radio to dispatch to see if someone from state police could respond to the scene.
And did state police officers come?
Two state police officers did.
Who were the officers?
Officer Mitch Bankston and Chris Ware.
And did you take photographs of those officers who responded to the scene and what they were wearing and what kinds of weapons they had?
The criminalistics detectives did take photographs of them.
At your direction?
Correct.
And it was from that, I'm going to not do this again, and it was that evening?
Yes.
Sorry.
Yes.
So the address is marked as 30A and 31A. Can you tell me who those folks are? And identify them by number, please.
Correct. Exhibit 30A, 30A is a picture of, and excuse me, I called him officer. He was a sergeant at the time. Sergeant Christopher Ware from the state police.
And how about the other exhibit?
Exhibit 31A is a frontal picture of state police officer Mitch Bankston.
Your Honor, I would move 30A and 31A into evidence.
No objection, Your Honor.
No objection.
30A and 31A are in evidence. So were these two state police officers successful at negotiating with Mr. Boyd?
No.
Okay. How long did that discussion between these 7 officers go on with Mr. Boyd?
Over an hour.
Okay. And is there a time limit on how long you can negotiate before you call somebody else in?
There's nothing set in stone, no.
Okay. And were there pictures taken of how these folks were arrayed when they were talking to Mr. Boyd?
Yes, again, with as respect to Alexander Thixton, he was off and on continuing to take video and pictures.
Okay. Let me hand you what's marked as 13I-5 and 13I-1. And can you identify those photographs as stills from Alexander Thixton's video of where these officers set themselves up when they were negotiating with Mr. Boyd?
13I-5, yes, you can see the area where the officers are standing and where Mr. Boyd is standing. And 13I-1 is another photo a little bit closer up, and you can actually see State Police Officer Mitch Bankston has kind of joined the area.
Okay. Your Honor, I would move 13I-5 and 13I-1.
No objection, Your Honor.
No objection.
13I-1 and 13I-5.
And let me pull this out a little bit so the jury can see it. That was the first one you identified of Mr. Boyd, and then the initially responding officers. Can you point out where Michael Monet is? Or Michael Monette is?
Right here?
He's the tallest guy out there?
Appears to be.
Okay. And if you can undo that one, and in this photo here, what I can do is maybe put your circle on Michael Monette. There you go. So there's Mr. Boyd again. Where is Michael Monette in that picture?
Right here.
And can you show me where the other CIT officer, Brock Niprath, is?
He's up here.
All right. And where is, it looks like the open space officer Hernandez is up there as well?
The open space officer?
Yeah, the fellow in the ball cap, is that who that is?
It's actually leading, Your Honor.
Well, can you tell me if Pat Hernandez is up there, the open space officer is up there as well?
Yes, this is him.
And open space officer McDaniel, is he up there too?
He's right here.
And then where is the state police officer?
State police officer is right here. You can see the standard issue state police hat.
Okay, and that's what I wanted to ask you. Is that how we can tell who's a state police officer and who's an APD officer?
He's very distinct because obviously the uniform is different. He's got the stripe down his leg and he's got the state police hat.
Okay. Were there also some stills from the taser cameras of Officer McDaniel that captured, when they were up there, how close they were to Mr. Boyd when the field officers were negotiating?
I would have to look at them.
Yeah, sure. Let me show you 7C4 and 7C5, and can you identify those as stills from Officer McDaniel's, the open space officer's taser camera?
Yes, they appear to be.
Okay, and did those fairly and accurately depict where the officers were standing in relation to Mr. Boyd when the field officers were out there?
Yes.
Your Honor, I would move, and I'm sorry, can you tell me what those numbers are again? Detective Stone?
7C5 and 7C6.
7C4.
4.
Any objection?
Did you move to amend?
Pardon
Did
me?
you just move to amend?
I did.
Your Honor, I don't have an objection to 7C5, but 7C4, just, the image of Mr. Boyd looks a little bit transposed. I don't know how to describe it, Your Honor. I object to it just because it doesn't look right.
It's what we have to work with, Judge. That's what we can get off the video. Any objection, Mr. Rhodes?
No objection to State's Exhibit 7C5, nor to 7C4.
7C4 and 7C5.
Let me put this one up first. Can you tell me what officer this is right here that we're seeing from behind?
This is Officer Christopher Weatherland.
Okay, and is he approximately on the same level as Mr. Boyd? Same, rather than above or below him?
Objection, lack of foundation requires speculation as well, Your Honor.
I'm going to sustain the lack of foundation.
All right, let me show you 7C5 then. And can you show me where Officer Weatherland is in this particular photograph?
He is right here.
Okay, and can you tell from that photograph whether they are on equal ground or he is above or below Mr. Boyd?
From this photograph, it's hard to tell because it's two-dimensional. I just don't know.
Okay. Did you try to determine how it is that Defendant Sandy and the rope team ended up out at this negotiation with Mr. Boyd?
Yes.
And you mentioned rope before and gave what it is, but can you explain again what the acronym stands for and what the rope team does?
It's, again, the acronym ROPE stands for Repeat Offender Project. And at the time, their mission was to follow, locate, and at times apprehend repeat violent criminals within the city of Albuquerque.
All right, and did their job typically involve negotiations with mentally ill people?
You know, quite honestly, back then I mean, I was never on the rope team itself, so I don't know everything that they did. I don't know if any of their situations ever arose to trying to communicate with anybody, but as far as being called out for CIT, no.
All right. Were they something that is known as a tactical team?
I don't know if they would be referred to as a tactical team. They were more of an investigative undercover team that would, again, specialize in undercover surveillance, locating and apprehending wanted violent fugitives or career criminals, but tactics would play a part in doing that job.
Okay. What is a tactical team?
Well, I mean, the term tactics or a tactic is, best way to describe it is it's something that you perform, like say a task, and you perform it a certain way every time. You train to perform it a certain way every time. And so the term being tactical is using the training that you do and employing it in a certain way and training to do it so that way it kind of becomes second nature. So Simply having tactical gear on you does not mean that one is tactical. It just means that they have gear that assists them in performing those tasks.
Okay, if I dress up in a SWAT outfit, it doesn't make me a SWAT officer.
Objection, relevance, Your Honor.
Okay. Is the SWAT team a tactical team?
They're considered a tactical team.
And when they're a team, do they practice these skills together or by themselves?
Both. In order to perform a team task, say as room clearing or approaching a vehicle and clearing a vehicle or clearing a house, one must have individual tactics like firearm tactics, like I had explained earlier, fundamentals of marksmanship, things of that nature, in order to be able to work cohesively as a team to perform team tactics.
Okay, what is the most elite tactical team at APD?
Well, the tactical team at APD is the SWAT team.
Okay. Is that the hardest tactical team to qualify for?
Well, I guess what I should say is never being in tactical or SWAT before, there's also another component to that. It is the K-9 unit. They are part of the tactical unit, as well as the bomb squad. They are also part of the tactical unit. And they do come together to perform a task together, if it's like a SWAT call out or something like that. The standard of getting into that team and those teams is higher. The PT standard is higher, and the qualification, marksmanship qualification, is set at a higher standard than just the regular state-mandated qualifications.
Is it typically the SWAT team that's called out for negotiations in a standoff?
If it's deemed to be a SWAT call-out, SWAT will respond along with the crisis negotiation team, and it's their responsibility to handle the CIT portion of it.
Okay, and the crisis negotiation team has even more training than the CIT officers, does it not?
That is correct.
And that activates or is called out by the SWAT unit? Is that how that works?
It is, and how it actually works is the supervisor on scene, who in this case was Sergeant Carpenter, would have been the one responsible to contact whoever the supervisor on call was for the tactical unit, the SWAT team, communicate what was going on, and at that point in time it would have been the supervisor on scene's responsibility to make it a SWAT call out, an official SWAT call out.
Okay, so who makes the decision that we can't handle it for this group of 7 here?
Sergeant Carpenter.
Right, would be Sergeant Carpenter. If he thought that they needed a SWAT call out, he would be the one who would call out SWAT, is that right?
It would be his responsibility.
All right. Was there a SWAT call out during this hour or so that the field officers were negotiating?
No.
All right. What happens as far as the chain of command when SWAT arrives at a scene like this and is called out? Who is in charge when that happens?
Well, it's kind of a long process when SWAT shows up. But when the SWAT sergeant and if the SWAT lieutenant show up, once there's been kind of a good brief of what's going on with the critical incident is what we refer to it as. The actual SWAT supervisors take over responsibility of the actual incident itself.
Okay. And do they have the authority then to replace whatever officers are up there with SWAT officers?
Yes, and that's what happens when there is a SWAT activation. Once the SWAT team members start arriving and they get together, the sergeant or team leader, whoever that may be, will start directing SWAT officers to different locations wherever they deem appropriate, and that's up to them how they want to allocate their forces around the perimeter. And the intent is to replace all responding field officers in the area with tactical officers.
And would it have been the SWAT sergeant's decision then whether to keep, for example, if these CIT officers had established a rapport with Mr. Boyd, does the SWAT sergeant sometimes keep the CIT officer who's got a rapport with the subject on the scene talking to the subject?
Objection, leading and assumes facts, not evidence, and is hypothetical.
Okay. does the SWAT sergeant have as far as leaving the CIT officer in place to negotiate with the subject if they've been doing well at that point?
Again, it's up to the SWAT sergeant on scene. There will be a point in time where CNT will take over and that CIT officer may in fact be replaced. When that happens is totally up to the SWAT sergeant.
Okay. Your Honor, I think it may be a good breaking point if you want to take an afternoon recess. On this first which is 13I3, can you say what the distance was between these officers and Mr. Boyd when they first pulled out their guns as they approached him?
When he first pulled out the knives, or this photograph right here?
This photograph right here. So then I'm going to go to the next one in a second.
I don't know. I don't know the distance with this photograph.
Okay. Do you know the height of Officer McDaniel, who's the officer who's in the front here?
I did obtain that information. I don't have it off the top of my head.
Okay. Is it between 5'5" and 6 foot?
I don't recall, quite honestly.
All right. We'll try to get that maybe from them. All right. How about this second one where they, from the taser cam, where they were up close to his camp, when he first pulled out the knives, how close were they to him?
Exhibit number.
This is exhibit number 7C2, Your Honor.
As it relates to this still shot right here,
Or actually, let me take the still shot out and just ask you, when he first pulled out the knives, how close were the officers to him?
within a couple feet.
Okay. And were they within arm's length of him?
Yes, because when you see in the video, Officer McDaniel actually goes to try and pat him down, and in order to do that, you have to make contact with the person.
All right. And so that's when he turned around?
Correct.
All right. And then let me ask the third picture here. Do you have any idea what the distance was after they backed away from him at this particular point? And this is 13I4, Your Honor.
Again, I don't know the exact distance based on this photograph.
Okay. In the course of your investigation, did you interview Defendant Keith Sandy?
Yes, I did.
When did you interview him?
I interviewed him on March 18th.
And how many days after the shooting was that?
2 days.
Okay. Why did you not interview him the night of the shooting?
He had retained counsel prior to me arriving on scene, so every citizen in the United States is afforded the opportunity to remain silent and receive counsel. Therefore, I can't force anyone to give me a statement. So that night, an agreed upon time between myself and his counsel was agreed upon to do the interview.
Okay. And that was set for 2 days later?
Yes, it was.
Okay. Did you or anybody at APD place restrictions on Defendant Perez Defendant Sandy talking to Defendant Perez?
No, I didn't do any restrictions like that.
Okay. Were there any restrictions placed on Defendant Sandy about talking to the other officers who'd been at the scene between the time of the shooting and the time of your interview?
As far as me giving those orders, no. There is a standard operating procedure that after a shooting does occur involving department personnel, that is the practice that all involved officers and witness officers will be separated and not allowed to talk to each other.
You mean at the scene itself?
That's correct.
Okay. But was there anything that prevented them from talking to each other between the time of the shooting and 2 days later when you interviewed Defendant Sandy?
Well, I wasn't in control of that, so no.
Okay. Was there anything or any instructions given to Defendant Sandy that he couldn't review the evidence or get the videotape and review the videotape before he gave his statement 2 days later?
Not by me.
Okay. Is there a benefit to letting an officer have a couple days to think about things before he gives a statement after a shooting?
No objection.
Ms. Rowland? The way it's stated, evidence is stated.
Okay. Is there a problem taking a statement from someone in the emotion of the situation right at the time of the shooting?
Same objection, Your Honor. And vague.
Okay, you can answer, Detective.
We, as an investigator, I've gone through training as it relates to interview and interrogation, and this just doesn't always apply to police officers. It can apply to anybody. That sometimes after a traumatic event, people will not always recall things, or their thoughts will be very scattered. Now, unfortunately, in certain situations, I don't have the luxury of waiting, but in this incident, because an agreed upon time is to give the officer involved in the shooting time to rest, and then the thought process is when they come to give me a statement, they will have better recall of the incident, better facts of the incident to give to me for my case.
Okay, and when you did his statement on March 18th, he had every opportunity to tell you anything that he wanted to, is that right?
Yes, yes.
And present with him, he was allowed to have a lawyer present and a support officer present as well, is that right?
Yes, I didn't object to that.
Okay. And the same lawyer at that point was representing both of the defendants that you interviewed, is that correct?
I believe that's correct at the time.
Leading, Your Honor.
Who was the lawyer that was representing both of the two defendants at that time?
Just for the record, I need to give my ruling before you.
I'm sorry,
So it was the same.
okay, and I was withdrawing it already. Okay, so who was the lawyer that represented both Defendant Perez and Defendant Sandy at the time Defendant Sandy gave his statement on March 18th?
Mr. Robles, I believe at the time.
Luis Robles, the same Luis Robles that's in this courtroom?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. And then, did you also take a second statement from Defendant Sandy?
Yes, I did.
When was that statement taken?
I want to say in April. I'd have to refer to my
Sure.
report.
Would it refresh your recollection if I showed you something that related to the statement?
Yes,
Okay. Is your
Okay.
recollection refreshed?
yes.
When did you take a second statement from Defendant Sandy?
April 7th of 2014.
And again, was he there with a lawyer and a support officer?
Yes,
And was he given every opportunity to tell you anything he wanted?
yes.
Okay. What did he tell you about his desire to be on the rope team?
He had made mention that it was something that he always aspired to do when he came on to the police department, the Albuquerque Police Department.
And did he talk about whether the approval of his supervisors on the rope team was important to him?
I believe so.
What did he say about that?
I don't recall the exact wording.
Okay, would it refresh your recollection if I handed you
Can I see what you're handing?
sure, transcript of the statement?
What page?
Page 18, line 14 through 23. Does that refresh your recollection about that, sir?
As far as your question about the supervisors?
Yes, sir. Was the approval of the supervisors important to him?
Your Honor, let me approach.
How did he feel about his supervisors at Rope, whether it was important for them to respect him?
He said that he looked up to them and he idolized them.
Okay. Did he tell you that there'd been a problem in the first year of the rope team?
He talked about a particular incident.
Okay. And did he tell you that he'd made a big mistake at rope?
Object based on relevance. This whole line of inquiry now.
Okay.
Could you repeat the question?
Yes, sir. Did he tell you that he'd made a big mistake in his first year at the rope team?
He talked about a mistake during a vehicle block and that the vehicle they were trying to block got out of the block.
What does that mean? The person got away?
I believe so.
All right. And how did he describe that as far as the size of the mistake he had made?
It was a big mistake.
Did he use the word huge?
I'd have to refresh
All
my
right,
memory.
let me show you the transcript of this on page 23, council line 8 through 13.
Okay. Yes, he used the word huge.
And how did the rope team respond after he had made this huge mistake where somebody got away?
I don't exactly know the words he used, but they kind of roused him about it.
Okay, and let me give this back to you, and let me see if you can just read the words that he said to you. 23 lines 11 through 13. What did he say about that?
Just gonna ask, does she not read from a document that's not in evidence?
Could you refresh your recollection on what he said about that?
Yes.
What did he say about that?
He said that he took a lot of beating up over it.
From the people on the rope team?
That's correct.
All right. How was Defendant Sandy called out to the scene?
He was initially called by control from dispatch, and to explain what that is when police officers talk on the radio to dispatch, they're communicating to dispatch personnel that are in a building on the west side of town. And each area command has a dispatcher that dispatches officers to radios and takes in information. And then there is a person that kind of oversees all the dispatchers, like a supervisor. We refer to that person as control. And whenever on-call detectives, or say the SWAT team, or the rope team, or the gang unit needs to be called on telephone, it's the responsibility of control, the supervisor, to make that phone call.
All right. And what was the request of Defendant Sandy? What did they want from him?
They were looking for a taser shotgun.
All right. And was there a second call within minutes of the first call?
Yes.
And what did the second call to him say?
Control again stated that Sergeant Carpenter had asked Control to check with gangs to see if they had a taser shotgun.
And did the dispatcher say, "I'd made a mistake, it's not you that we want to come, it's this other group"?
Something
okay.
to that effect, yes.
All right. And when they said, "No, we've made a mistake, we don't want you to bring the taser shotgun, we want gangs to bring the taser shotgun," what did Defendant Sandy do or say?
He said because he was already en route that just to disregard it.
Okay, so he told them that not to call gangs, that he would come.
Correct.
All right.
To that effect, yes.
Did he take more than a taser shotgun with him to the scene?
He took his gear with him, yes.
And did he take a rifle in addition to a
Yes.
taser shotgun? What happened when he arrived at the scene? Where did he go first?
He arrived in the area of Alexander Thixton's address, and that's on the road of Piedra Vista.
Down on the street?
On the street.
All right. And who did he run into down there on the street?
I don't know everyone he ran into that day, but he did run into Sergeant Christopher Ware.
Is that somebody he'd known from before?
Yes.
And did they have a conversation down there on the street?
Yes, they did.
In the second interview that you did with Defendant Sandy, did he come in and tell you what he thought he'd said to Sergeant Ware down there on the street? In the staging area before he went up? And,
Yes.
And who was that person?
Sergeant Christopher Ware?
Okay, and was there a video that was created of their conversation there by Sergeant Ware's car?
Yes, there was a dashboard camera.
Okay. Was Defendant Sandy aware that the dashboard camera was recording their conversation?
Objection calls for speculation.
I think I can ask him based on the statement, Judge.
I'm sorry?
Let me rephrase the question if you'd like, Judge. Okay. Okay. Did Defendant Sandy in his statement to you ever indicate that he was aware that this dashboard camera in the car that he was standing next to was recording?
Objection. Did he ever ask him? This is the better question. Does he even know? Your Honor, it's still calling for speculation.
You can answer, Detective.
I don't know.
Okay. He never told you that he was aware that he was being recorded when he was down there in the staging area?
No, he did not.
Okay. It is clear to you that when they were up and Sergeant Weimerskirch had his tape on, the officers were aware that they were recording what was going on with Mr. Boyd. Is that right?
All the officers are equipped with tasers, so yes. I mean, there's even some discussion that they're recording.
Okay, and tell the jury how this Coban tape in the car works.
Without getting technical, because obviously I have limited knowledge on the Coban system, but basically how it works is it's a dash cam video that shows video of the car as though you're looking outside the windshield. And then there's an audio device that is linked into the actual officer in the car. So say, for instance, the officer parks the car and walks away from the car, the video is still just video showing outside the car as it's parked. And say that officer walks away 50 feet, you're hearing what the officer says. So
Okay.
It's not audio in the car, it's audio on the officer.
All right, so in this, and did you retrieve this Coban video from Sergeant Ware of the New Mexico State Police?
Yes.
Okay. And when the jury hears it, and we're going to play it through Sergeant Ware, what will they see, and then what will they see on the video, first of all?
It will just be pictures of some houses on Piedra Vista, and I believe you can see some other police vehicles.
Okay. And have you reviewed State's Exhibit 12B, which is the excerpt of the Coban video that contains the comment and the conversation between Sergeant Ware and Defendant Sandy?
Is that the one with the transcript?
Yes, sir.
Yes, I have reviewed it.
And is the transcript accurate about what is said on the video?
Yes.
Okay, Your Honor, I would move 12B, but we would wait and play that with Sergeant Ware. Okay, we'll get it to you, Judge. It's a clip, it's a CD clip, yes. Yes, Judge.
You waiting on me here? You're waiting on me on their moving the admission of it. I think it's better moved to Sergeant Ware.
I'm moving it now. I think that we have the foundation, Judge. We're just not going to play it until Sergeant Ware takes the stand.
So you're objecting?
Under this witness, yes, Your Honor. I don't object to it overall, but I object to it through this witness.
I agree, lack of foundation.
He's indicated he is accurate from the
Okay.
written.
Let me ask you, when you're doing a homicide investigation, how do you determine what somebody's intent is? On an intent to kill? What do you look for?
Well, I base it off of interviews taken from the people involved, and I also base that off of New Mexico State statute, which kind of outlines what the precursors are for, say, a crime of murder.
Okay, and I think you're asking, my question I think was probably bad. Does what the subject says, the person who is the shooter or the person that's accused of homicide, before the event come into play in trying to determine their intent?
It could.
Okay, and is it important evidence to you in trying to figure out someone's intent in a homicide investigation as to whether they say in advance of the event that they plan to hurt the person?
Yes.
Okay, why? How does that come into play?
Again, I need to find out if that was an actual credible threat or not.
Okay. Let me ask you about the CADs and what those are, and what Defendant Sandy knew about Mr. Boyd before he went up the hill to where Mr. Boyd was. What is a CAD, first of all?
A CAD is a computer-generated call within the Albuquerque Police Department. We refer to it as a CAD. And basically what it is when an officer is dispatched to a 911 call, which we refer to as a call for service. And that's basically if you call 911 and you need the assistance of an officer to your location, then an officer is dispatched to your location. And there's a couple different ways that can happen. The CAD can just be sent to your computer if it's a low priority call, which means it's not a violent call, and the officer will see it and respond. The other way is if a dispatcher will get a hold of that officer over the radio by call sign and actually tell that officer where to go. And in conjunction with that, at the same time as the dispatcher is telling the officer where to go, like Piedra Vista or the open space area, that will automatically pop up on the computer inside the squad car of the police officer, and it is telling the officer a whole lot of information. The CAD number, which is each police incident, 911 call, a traffic stop has its own unique number. That's how we keep track of all of the police activity. It will also tell you the time of the 911 call, the time that it was dispatched. It will also tell you the address. It'll tell you names of people who, like the name of the calling party. The dispatchers are trained to get the description of the calling person. So it'll give out clothing description, height, weight, eye color, race, and any other people that might be involved within whatever incident is happening. And the reason for this is if the dispatcher was just to give this over the radio, say there's 3 people involved, and gave all of the physical descriptions of the 3 people, sometimes as an officer is trying to negotiate through traffic, running lights and sirens, that may be lost in all of the stuff that's going on. So what the CAD does is it assists the officer to go back and say, okay, this is what the dispatcher put on there. So as the dispatcher is saying it over the radio, she's actually on a computer typing it in as well, so the officers can go back and refer to it.
Okay, so the 2 sources of information for officers who are coming to a scene are the radio, they can hear it over the radio, is that right?
That's correct.
And the other one is on their computer screen in their car, they can see writing on the computer-aided dispatch or the CADs, is that right?
That's correct. And it's also important to note that a CAD is like a running log, so you'll have timestamps of what the dispatcher or other officers may think is important. So what officers say over the radio will be put on the CAD. What the dispatchers put out will be put on the CAD. When someone's calling 911, whatever that 911 caller is saying will be typed out on the CAD. So they try to, the thought process is giving the officers as much information as possible when en route to the call and when on scene.
Okay, so when, once Mr. Sandy went up the hill, got out of his car, he no longer had access to the CADs, did he?
No, just what's coming over the radio.
All right, all he would be able to hear is the radio dispatches?
Correct.
All right. And what time did he arrive there at the scene? And you've got your summary if you need to look at it.
Yes, I'll refresh my memory.
Okay.
Okay.
What time did he arrive there?
1756, so that would be 5:56 p.m.
All right. And so from that time until the shooting, he was up the hill and did not have access to the CADs themselves?
No.
Okay. You actually asked him in his statement what he knew before he went up the hill about Mr. Boyd, is that right?
Yes.
And what he knew, in fact, during the entire encounter about Mr. Boyd, is that right?
Correct.
And in that by the way, was his statement taken at the police station?
It was taken at the where my office back then when I was in homicide is located, which is the Family Advocacy Center.
Okay. So not a stressful environment?
It was a conference room.
Okay. And with his lawyer present and a fellow officer present, he was allowed to answer whatever he wanted to the question about what he knew about Mr. Boyd before Mr. Boyd was shot. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And what did, do you remember what he told you about Mr. Boyd? Why Mr. Boyd? What he knew about Mr. Boyd before he shot him?
I'd have to refer to the statement.
Let me refer you to page 5 of the statement, line 24 and 25, and I think it goes over on to the next page.
You want me to recollect both pages?
Yes, sir. Just the orange part.
Okay.
All right. What did he tell you he knew about Mr. Boyd?
I said that they had a history of running from police and resisting police and confrontation with police.
Okay. Did he, and then once he went up the mountain, he didn't have access to the CADs anymore, is that right?
No.
Now, Defendant Pettis was not at the scene until right before the shooting, is that right?
Correct.
How long before the shooting happened was he called or dispatched to the scene?
I'd have to refer to the CAD for the dispatch.
Please take a look.
Okay.
Go ahead.
It was at 19:01 hours, so that would have been 7:01 was the dispatch.
So 1 minute after 7, he was told to go to the scene,
Yes.
and then he arrived at about what time?
Somewhere after probably 7:15. I don't know for sure, but based on my investigation, that's the approximate time.
Okay. He would have come in a police car?
Whatever his issued vehicle for the SWAT team was, which at the time I know to be Tahoes.
Right. And would he have had access to the CADs, the computer-generated reports?
Yes.
Now, how do these come out on the screen? If there are 3 hours worth of reports, is it just the report of this incident, or is it everything that's going on in Albuquerque for the 3 hours before that?
No, when you pull up the specific call, that specific CAD and that CAD number, all you're going to see is the log for that particular incident. If you want to view something from another incident, say down the street or in another area command, you actually have to go search it, look for that number, and click on it.
Okay. Do you know whether or not Defendant Pettis reviewed all of the CADs before in the 15 minutes or so, or before he went up the hill?
It stated that he had reviewed the CADs. As far as every single word, I don't know. I didn't ask that.
You don't know which of the CADs he reviewed before he went up the hill?
I don't know specifically which ones.
Okay. Can you tell me how, after Defendant Sandy got this phone call and then got called back and said, "We don't want you," and he said, "No, I'll go anyway," how, did he contact anybody else?
He contacted at that point in time the acting sergeant for the rope team, which was Rick Ingram.
And what did he tell Mr. Ingram?
He advised Mr. Ingram of the incident and requested that he accompany him to the scene.
All right. And did he tell Rick Ingram to call anybody else and bring anybody else to the scene?
The K-9 unit?
Okay. And did Rick Ingram follow up with the K-9 unit and bring the K-9 unit to the scene too?
K-9 was requested by, not only by, I believe, Sergeant Carpenter, but I think there was a conversation from Rick Ingram, from what I can recall.
Okay. And was there a conversation between Keith Sandy and K-9 as well?
I believe there was some discussion on their frequency.
Okay. And so Rick Ingram came because Keith Sandy asked him to come?
Yes.
And Keith Sandy also talked to K-9 about coming out to the scene as well. Is that right?
Yes, but I believe K-9 was already en route.
Okay. So who arrived at the bottom of the hill there after Rick Ingram was called and K-9 was called?
2 K-9 officers, upon the request for K-9 came. It was K-9 officer Kenneth Ronzone and K-9 officer Scott Weimer-Scourge.
And did Rick Ingram, the sergeant, show up as well?
Yes, he did.
Okay. let me hand you what's been marked as states 33A2, 34A, and 35A, and can you identify each of those for me? Let's start with 33A1, or excuse me, A2.
33A2 is a picture of then Acting Sergeant Rick Ingram.
And when was this picture taken?
This picture was taken inside the crime van after the incident had occurred.
That's the night of the shooting, right?
That's correct.
Okay. Your Honor, I move 33A2.
No objection.
No objection.
33A2 is in there.
And let me show you what's marked as states 34A. Who is that?
34A is a frontal picture in the crime van of Canine Officer Scott Weimerskirch.
Your Honor, I would move 34A into evidence.
No objection, Your Honor.
No objection.
34A is in there.
And 35A, who is that?
Excuse me. 35A is a frontal picture, also inside the crime van, of Canine Officer Kenneth Ronzone.
I'd move 35A into evidence.
No, Your Honor.
35A is in there.
And did these folks meet at the bottom of the hill and have a discussion with Keith Sandy before they went up the hill?
Yes, there was discussion.
Okay. And so Keith Sandy arrived with this group of officers here? They arrived about the same time?
Approximately.
And 33A2 is the other rope officer, Ingram, is that correct?
That's right. Rick Ingram was the acting sergeant of the rope team on that particular day.
And 34A is Scott Weimerskirch, the first canine officer.
He's one of the ones that responded, that's correct.
And Ronzone is 35A is the second canine officer.
That's correct.
Okay, and was there a SWAT person that also kind of arrived with this group of officers?
Yes.
How did that happen?
Because of the way that the incident was evolving, the sergeant of the SWAT team had eventually been contacted and advised what was going on. So he started calling SWAT officers to see who could go en route immediately, and that's how some of the SWAT officers started arriving on scene.
Okay, and was there one particular SWAT officer that arrived about this same time?
Yes, SWAT officer, his name is Geoffrey.
Okay. Let me hand you what's been marked as 36A. Can you identify that as SWAT officer Scott McFarland?
36A is going to be Jeff McFarland.
Okay, sorry, I got the wrong name. And did he arrive approximately the same time as these other officers?
Approximately.
All right. Your Honor, I would move 36A.
No, Your Honor.
No objection.
36A is in there.
And did Officer Weimerskirch bring a dog with him?
He brought his police service dog, yes.
Named Rex?
I don't recall what the dog's name was.
Oh, that's bad. Okay. So let me hand you what's been marked as 34A. Or 34E, can you identify that as a police dog, Rex, that was Scott Weimerskirch's dog?
Again, I don't know the name, but from the investigation, this is the police service dog that Scott Weimerskirch had with him.
Okay, Your Honor, I would move states 34E.
Any objection to 34E?
No, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor.
34E is in there.
And did Canine Officer Ronzone also have a police service dog with him?
Yes.
And I don't think we have a picture of him. So, while this team was getting in place, did some other SWAT officers arrive as well?
Yes.
Okay. What other SWAT officers arrived before the 3 SWAT team officers that came at the end?
It was, I believe, SWAT Officer Anthony Sedler.
Okay, and was there another SWAT officer who was acting as a sniper that showed up?
Yes, at one point, the Jim Purdue.
Okay, let me hand you what's marked as states 38A, and can you identify that?
38A is a frontal picture in the crime van of SWAT Officer Anthony Sedler.
And 39A1?
Is a frontal picture in the crime van of SWAT Officer Jim Purdue.
Your Honor, I would move 38A and 39A1.
No objection.
No objection.
38A and 39A1 are admitted.
Let me get this tape, Judge, just a second. When the three officers first arrived, that is Sandy, Ingram, Weimer-Skirch, did they talk together and make a decision about whether or not they should call down the field officers?
Objection to the form of question, it assumes facts out of evidence that they made the decision, Your Honor, as opposed to one individual.
When discussing with you, in his statement, did Defendant Sandy talk about whether they or we had made a decision, or whether a particular individual made a decision?
I'd have to refer to the statement.
Okay. Let me give you the statement, but I think we also have the clip, which is, I think, clip 14A1, clip 3. Did you actually record the conversation?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And, Your Honor, I would play at this point the admission of Officer Sandy, which is at 14A1, clip 3.
The objection is on the context of the whole statement.
Before we go back to where we were, let me ask a question from the jury. Is it standard procedure for police officers who are being investigated to have a lawyer?
If they so choose to have one, yes.
Okay. And that's the same as an ordinary citizen has the right to ask for a lawyer as well?
It's the right of every American citizen, yes.
Okay. Let's go back to where we were. We were talking about they arrive at down at the bottom of the hill, and I asked you whether Defendant Sandy was involved in the decision to call down these officers who were up on the hill, the field officers who were down on the hill. And what we'd like you to do is read, there was a transcript actually made of his statement, is that right?
That's correct.
Okay, and what we'd like you to read is from his answer to that question on page 9 from the marked places, from 5 until 18. If you could read his answer to that question.
You want me to read it out loud?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And there's one uniformed officer standing right here with a rifle, and he's the only one that I can see with a rifle. These officers here are standing and talking to him. They didn't have guns drawn. He doesn't have the male subject, doesn't have anything in his hands. Since they doesn't have any guns drawn, we decide because of the position, because of the downhill grade, where they're at, it's not safe for them. That's where Weimer-Skirch gets on the radio, and he does two things. First thing he does is he asks Sam 55, Sergeant Carpenter, to pull his officers back.
Okay, and in that statement, what does he say about whether he, Mr. Defendant Sandy, was involved in that decision to pull those officers off?
The statement speaks for itself. If we're talking about the same thing you just read, the statement speaks for itself. Now respect the officers.
Could you repeat the question?
Yes. Does he say that he was involved in the decision to pull the field officers down from their position?
Yes.
Okay. Now, the whole reason that Defendant Sandy got this call was to bring what to the scene?
Taser shotgun.
And what happened when he arrived at the bottom of the hill as far as what he did with his taser shotgun?
He eventually passed it off to Detective Rick Ingram.
And what role did he assume when he passed off the taser shotgun to Detective Rick Ingram?
He was lethal coverage on his rifle.
Okay, and was that his decision that he made to give the taser to Rick Ingram and be lethal coverage?
Yes.
That he made that decision himself?
Yes.
Okay, and is that how Rick Ingram in this picture has two taser shotguns? I'm sorry, you can't see this picture.
I remember the picture.
Remember the picture? Has two taser shotguns and a rifle.
Correct.
How did he get all of those? Why did he have so many devices?
And I'm sorry, I said Detective Rick Ingram. He was the acting sergeant at the time. When he deployed, when he got there and went up to the hill, he had his rifle and his taser shotgun.
So, and Defendant Sandy only had then his rifle as the only long gun he had.
After he passed off his taser shotgun?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. And did some of the taser, still of the taser camera video from McDaniel capture the moment of this call down, where they called the field officers down and away from Mr. Boyd, and brought them down the hill?
Your Honor, it's a mischaracterization of the evidence. Judge, she says were they. It was one person that called them down, Your Honor.
No, I think the record speaks for itself, that we made the decision. Okay. Let me hand you what's marked as 7C6. And can you identify that as the moment that the field officers are being brought down the hill there?
Based on the review of the video, this does appear to be around that time, yes.
Okay. And let me also hand, and that's the one from the McDaniel taser cam video?
It appears to be.
Okay, Your Honor, I would move 7C6 into evidence.
So this witness, yes, Your Honor. It's because of what witness she's trying to introduce this to.
And what do you see in this picture, Detective Stone?
I see a few things here. This individual right here with the back to you with the police placard right here, that's going to be Acting Sergeant Rick Ingram with the rope team. This right here is State Police Sergeant Christopher Ware. The SWAT officer that you see here just to the left of Sergeant Chris Ware is going to be SWAT Officer Jeff McFarlane. And what you're seeing up here are the initial officers that were up there, part of Sergeant Carpenter's responding officers, are walking down the hill away from James Boyd.
Okay, and did the Thixton video camera also capture the moment when Sergeant Carpenter was called down and was having a discussion with those people at the bottom of the hill?
Yes.
Let me hand you what's marked with 32E2. Can you identify that, please?
Yes, it's a still photograph from that camera.
That shows that moment where they called these officers down.
Around that time, that's correct.
All right, I move 32E2, Your Honor.
No objection, Your Honor.
32E2.
And can you tell the jury who these people are in this particular?
Yes, I'll go from probably easiest on this one, go left to right. So this individual right here is SWAT Officer Jeff McFarlane. You can only see a portion of Detective Sandy's left shoulder kind of coming down here. You see the RO and then the kind of police placard right there.
He's standing in front, face-to-face with Sergeant Carpenter?
It doesn't look like they're facing each other, but they're right next to each other, in front of each other.
Okay, and who is Sergeant Carpenter? Can you show Sergeant Carpenter from the field officers?
That's Sergeant Carpenter right there.
Okay, and who else is in this picture?
K-9 Officer Scott Weimerskirch and his police service dog. And then you have Acting Sergeant Rick Ingram. And then this is Open Space Officer Patrick Hernandez.
Okay. And then the last people left standing up there talking, the last field officers left standing up there talking to Mr. Boyd when Sergeant Carpenter got put down. Was that Michael Monette?
Objection leading.
Can you tell me who was the last officer left standing up there talking to Mr. Boyd while this was going on downstairs?
It was Officer McColmonay.
Okay, let me hand you to Marcus 32E1, and can you identify that photograph and where that came from?
Yes. Again, it comes from the area of where Alexander Thixton was taking photographs and video. And it's kind of a zoomed out still photograph from around that time.
Okay. And what does that depict? Why don't you tell the jury what that depicts?
You can see these officers kind of in the lower right-hand corner. You see Officer McColmonay still.
You're not using the elements of the jury's.
Okay, well, let me move it first, Judge. So let me move 32E1 into evidence.
Any objections to 32E1?
No.
No objection.
32E1.
Let me do this, and let's zoom in on part. So can you point out to the jury what you're telling, what you were trying to say up there?
Yeah, sorry. So the last picture that you saw of the officers that I identified, this is the area that they were standing in. They're standing near that main trail that you will see down towards the bottom of the blown up photograph that's next to you. This is Officer McColmonay. He's still in the same position approximately where he had been while he's negotiating with James Boyd. This is another cover officer, and at this moment I don't know who that one is. And James Boyd is right here up in his camp area.
Okay. The second officer, was that Brock Nipreth that was still up there? Do you know?
I'm not sure.
Okay. And then after did they pull down both Michael Monette and the cover officer?
Eventually.
Let me hand you it to Mark. It states 32E3, and can you tell me if this depicts what happened after they pulled the CIT officer down?
It's just a picture of some officers down lower and James Boyd kind of by himself.
Okay. And for a time after they pulled Michael Monette off the scene, was there a conversation between the officers below and with James Boyd?
Yes, there started to be some dialogue.
Okay. Your Honor, I'd move 32E3 into
No,
evidence.
we don't have it. Can I see it? No objection, Your Honor. No objection.
32E3 is amended.
And can you tell the jury what you see there?
Yes. So from the last photograph, you saw the tree, the big tree where these officers were standing, same officers that I've identified before. And as you can see, there's no more field officers up around the area that they had been before. And here is James Boyd up in his camp area, just kind of looking down at the officers.
Okay. And is he sitting down in that picture?
Looks like he's sitting or squatting.
Okay. Let me ask you about during the time that Michael Monette was up there. Was he able to get James Boyd to stop pulling his knives out during the hour he was up there?
It's actually lack of foundation, Your Honor. It calls for speculation there.
In reviewing all of this case, you were aware of the different times that Mr. Boyd became agitated and times when he calmed down, were you not?
Yes, it happened quite often.
Okay. And were you aware that as far as him threatening to kill officers, he only threatened to kill the first team of officers, Hernandez and McDaniel, 3 times?
That sounds approximately correct.
And when this group of officers with Michael Monette were here, this group of officers, the field officers were here, and he only ever threatened to kill them 1 time.
Which officers are those? I'm sorry.
The field officers. When the field officers with Michael Monette were there, during that hour they were there, and Michael Monette had started negotiating with him, he only made 1 threat to kill anybody during that time.
It's hard to say based on what particular time period you're talking about. So I don't exactly know.
Okay. Well, when the TAC team arrived, I want to talk to you about the effect it had on Mr. Boyd when this group of people arrived. The TAC officers with the dogs and the SWAT officer. Did Mr. Boyd become more agitated after the TAC, this group of rope officers and dogs arrived?
Your Honor, objection calls for speculation and implies that that was the reason Mr. Boyd got more agitated, that there were police officers.
Speaking objection, Your Honor.
First way you asked it, sustained.
Changed it to a different question, overruled.
And now it's so late that I've forgotten the second part of my question.
And
How did he react?
And change it so that it's not a leading question.
Okay, how did he react to the arrival of the pulling down of the field officers and Michael Monette and the arrival of this group of guys, the dogs and rope?
Objection calls for speculation, Your Honor.
Overruled.
He did get, there was a point where he got agitated.
Okay, and during the time that they were there, he threatened to kill them 15 times, didn't he?
That's approximately correct.
Okay. During the time that Michael Monette was there with him, with these field officers, Michael Monette was able to get him to stop pulling his knives out, wasn't he?
Objection leading, Your Honor.
Let me rephrase, Judge. Was Michael Monette able to get him to stop pulling his knives out during the time that he was there?
There was a period of time where he stopped pulling the knives out, that is correct.
Right. And was Michael Monette able to also get him to even take his hands out of his pockets? Because he was, at that time when he was negotiating with him?
At that time, yes.
Okay. Did Mr. Boyd express concern about his own safety once this new group of rope officers and canine officers arrived?
I didn't get the question, Your Honor.
Did Mr. Boyd express concern about his own safety after the rope officers and canine officers arrived?
He did express things like that, yes.
Did he express his belief that these officers were there to kill him?
He did express that, yes.
Did he express his fear of this new group of officers?
Yes.
And did he alternate that fear with threats against them?
Yes.
And how would you describe how that went during the time that the rope officers and the canine officers were there?
From the statements that he would make, it would be that he didn't like them there. He was afraid for them being there. But then he would get into being angry and say that he wasn't the one that was going to die that night, and that he would kill them, so forth. And that's kind of how the agitation would go up and down, pretty much throughout the whole thing.
Okay, and he would go from expressing fear to saying I'm going to kill you, and then expressing fear of them again, back and forth, up and down like that. Is that right?
That is true.
Okay, and you have listened to excerpts from Scott Weimerskirch. Well, let me back up. Canine Officer Weimerskirch had a tape himself, did he not?
That's correct.
Were you able to collect that tape?
Yes.
And have you listened to excerpts from that tape and compared it with the transcribed portions of the tape to determine if they were accurate as far as Mr. Boyd expressing fear of these officers?
The statements that I saw on the video did seem accurate.
All right. Your Honor, at this point I would offer to play excerpts from the Scott Weimerskirch tape. This is 10L, N, P, R, and T.
L as in Larry, M as in Mary, P as in Peter, R as in Ralph, T as in Tom.
N as in Nancy instead of M.
Any objection?
No, Your Honor, I don't object to any. This is, if I'm understanding correctly, this is the Weimerskirch's taser, camera, footage, audio, and that's it.
And video of,
Right.
of what you can see. You can't really see
Nothing else
anything.
put on the-
And words on it as well.
And where is it the corresponding transcript?
There's not a well, the transcript is the transcript that I think Mr. Robles has provided, and that's where it came from. And besides that, Detective Stone said he's watched these videos, listened to the transcript, and the transcript is accurate.
Is it 10U, the transcript?
Yes, Judge, and we'll move that next, but at this point, we're going to play this with the transcript on the video.
Your Honor, I'm going to object at this point, just because this, I believe, is one of the replacements that they gave us in the last 2 days, because they've given us a number of them. I believe it is, I think, at the time, it's 4 minutes to 5, and I'd like to be able to review this tonight. Maybe I don't have an objection, Ron. The only thing that concerns me is what writing might be on.
Okay, we can start with that in the morning, and I can end with, I've got a question that'll just be a couple more minutes, and then we can
Okay,
end if
so-
you'd like, Judge.
We'll move on.
Okay, and they can review that tonight, and I'll just ask about this one other person I called down. Okay.
Before you move on,
Yes, Judge?
did you want to address 20A?
Yes, Judge, is that the summary?
I haven't seen it with the changes that we discussed.
Because we haven't been back to our office to make them yet.
Okay.
We will bring it tomorrow morning. We'll bring that tomorrow morning, if that's all right with the court. Let me just ask you about one more thing, Detective, and we'll get you off the stand and get the jury out of here, okay? If we could turn this back on, Judge? This has already been admitted as 39A1. This is the photograph of Officer Perdue from the SWAT team. And can you tell me what Officer Perdue's role was out there that day?
His role during that particular day was to be high ground. And what I mean by high ground is he is a trained SWAT sniper. Every SWAT team will have trained snipers for various reasons. The majority of it is to be quite a distance away from the actual incident or whoever they're dealing with, and preferably not seen by that person. And they will provide cover for those officers who are quite a bit closer to the individual. In this point, James Boyd.
And what is the advantage to having somebody who is not in the action but away from the action?
Couple different things. If I could direct your attention to the picture, you'll see that Officer Jim Perdue has a considerably different looking rifle than any rifle you've seen so far. And this is a bolt-action sniper rifle. I don't know the make and model at this point in time. And it is a different caliber, higher caliber than what the 5.56 is. And as you can see, the scope that he has on the sniper rifle allows him to see quite a bit distance away. And this allows him to do a couple different things. It allows him to actually, again, be pretty far away from James Boyd, but have a pretty clear view of what's going on, a magnified view, like you would be looking through binoculars. And because he's in a position, usually in an elevated position, he may be able to see things that the officers who are closer up can't see, and he can get on the radio and relay this crucial information not only to the officers but to the command post where the SWAT sergeant is.
Okay, and is there an advantage of having somebody who is sort of separate and away from whatever is going on here, making decisions about use of force, for example?
Objection leading, Your Honor.
Sustained.
Is there another advantage to having somebody away from the action?
Objection leading.
Can you just rephrase it?
Sure. What other advantages are there of having somebody who is not in whatever is happening, but is sitting away from it?
In this particular incident, because of the back and forth dialogue with James Boyd, and at this point in time when we're talking about Scott Weimerskirch had kind of taken over negotiating with Boyd, he's not intimately involved in getting sucked into the conversation. He can actually just kind of sit back and watch things. Now he may not be able to hear what's going on, but he can kind of concentrate more on the movement of James Boyd, and he may see something that the other officers may not.
Can you come up here on this diagram that we admitted and show approximately where Mr. Perdue was stationed, if I can even come down here. This is on Exhibit 16.
Are you asking him to mark it or just point?
No, just point to where he was in relation to this boy.
Yes, we're talking about James Boyd is going to be up here with the other officers in this kind of general area. SWAT Officer Jim Perdue was going to be to the south. I don't know the exact distance, but he's going to be in this area over here, kind of tucked away. But so he still had the best view that he could possibly have over here.
And my final question of the day, I'll let you get back there first. Did Jim Perdue ever shoot James Boyd?
No.
That's all the questions I have today, Judge.
Okay. We'll take a recess for the evening, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank you again for your time and your patience today. Sorry again for that delay this morning.